What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Let me give me a second. Let me make adjustment to my camera. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Hope y'all can hear me okay. Hope y'all can hear me okay. But what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Trailblazers Radio. Welcome to Trailblazers Radio, y'all. More importantly, welcome to the check-in show where we talk about everything mental health related as it pertains to not only to me, but also to our brothers. And disclaimer, quick disclaimer, I am not a mental health professional. I am just a individual who has life experiences that I think are relatable to what we talk about, that are relatable to not just men, but women as well, but primarily my brothers. I primarily speak to my brothers, but also women can be related, can relate to this, can hop on board on this, and everything else of that nature. However, before we get started on this topic tonight, couple of announcements I want to make, man. Make sure that you continue to follow and like us on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So many places to follow us, so many places to like and share our content. Make sure that you continue to follow us on all our social media platforms. We also stream live. We also stream live on Twitch, and we're also on pretty much on every audio streaming platform that you possibly could think of. Whether it's iHeartRadio, um, whether it's Apple Music, whether that's Amazon Music, whether that's Spotify, whether that's Google Podcasts, man. Make sure that you follow us on all of our audio streaming platforms, and make sure you follow us on our website www.trailblazersradio.net. And we got a YouTube channel, man. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. Make sure you please do me a favor. Make sure you go to our YouTube page, Trailblazers Radio. Take a look at the content that we got over there. If any of the content, maybe like a couple of videos, and if any of the content resonates with you, do me a favor, subscribe. It helps us out a lot. It really does help us out a lot. And last but most, definitely not least, and most importantly, want to thank the people that we most definitely want to thank is you guys, because you guys make this happen, and without you guys, we just made it, it is what we without you guys, our listeners and our viewers, you guys are the bomb.com. So I appreciate that. Uh, Last thing I want to throw out here before I get started on this topic, man. Um, so today is a rather important day. A day that I didn't even know, kind of sort of I didn't even know really existed, and I'm gonna say shame on me for not knowing that it existed. So today is, from what I was told, is the fifth. From what I know, is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. 50 years of 50 years of beats, rhymes, and life. That's a great accomplishment. So, quick little story before we jump into this, man. I first fell in love with hip hop. My love affair with hip hop started way back, and way back in the 80s and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Way back in the 80s, when I was way back in the late 80s. Well, 80s to early 90s. Started off with when I was in high school, man. Listen to a show on one of our local radio stations called Fresh Party, and they played a lot of great music. A lot of great music. Um, lot of local artists here. A lot of local artists here in the Atlanta area. Um, MC Shadi, Raheem the Dream, um, Hard Boys, all those guys, even with Outkast and everybody else, and all the other greats from the great people, great artists from Atlanta. So my love affair with hip hop started from there. Um, Exponentially grew when I got exposed to artists like the Wu-Tang Clan, Smith and Wesson, um, geez, Black Moon, Showbiz and AG, Mad Skills from VA, Lady of Rage. And then even graduated even more when I started listening to guys like Notorious B.I.G., um, Redman, EPMD. Well, I was listening to EPMD for a while, but reintroduced to EPMD. Then Too Short, gosh, Dre, Snoop, Daz, Corrupt, uh, and even more so a lot of underground West Coast rappers, Big Jude, Sibo, all these guys, man. So my love affair with hip hop has been my love affair with hip hop has been an ongoing love affair, man. And we give homage to the OGs of hip hop, but we give homage and give flowers to the OGs of hip hop, but we also pave the way. If it wasn't for the OGs in hip hop, it wouldn't pave the way for the newer generation, for the leaders of the new school of hip hop. So with that, man, we with that, you know, hip hop is a genre of music that will forever remain in hearts and minds. Hip hop speaks to a lot of things. It speaks of struggle. It speaks of joy. It speaks of strife. It speaks of pain. It speaks of redemption. It speaks of happiness. It speaks of triumph. But more importantly, hip hop is the voice of our people. So if there's something going on in your city or your area, make sure you take in the sights and sounds of that. And look, big ups to all the hip hop artists around the world. Big up to all the radio stations that play these artists. Whether you're mainstream or whether you're mainstream artist or whether you're independent artist, big ups to you and big ups to you and your contribution to this genre. Your contributions are forever. For you, this guy right here, me. I'm forever grateful for the contribution that you bring. So keep putting out great music, y'all. Salute. Now, let's get into this. Let's get into the subject matter of what we got going on tonight. So, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about change and cost. We're talking about, like, I'm going to repeat that. We're talking about change and we're talking about cost. There are positives and there are negatives to what I'm talking about. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. I'll start out, as I always like to do with these particular type of shows. I always want to start with me, with my experiences, and then branch out. So my experiences with change and cost happened quite a while ago. My experience with change and cost happened around August of 2020. Actually, yeah, August of 2020. When I made a decision to leave, the state of Florida and come back to the state of Georgia, because I felt I was in a relationship or a marriage that was this is just me speaking this. This is just me saying this. I'm not gonna disparage the other person by saying negative things, because I won't, because I'm not gonna, because that's not what I'm up here to do. So I'll just say that I decided I made a cognizant choice to leave the state of Florida, to come back to Georgia to better myself, to improve, to better myself. And that was a starting over process. That road to change, that change was a change. Get here, and it is an adjustment. Not much of a big adjustment, but an adjustment nonetheless. Just reacclimating myself to the people that I hadn't been around in in close proximity to for a long time. Then also just reacclimating myself to people such as reacclimating myself to other people that I knew but weren't in close proximity to, like my father, my stepmother, my mother, my brother, um, aunts, uncles, um, cousins, those types of things. So there was a reacclimation process with that. Um, the other change was, getting myself back on a routine, some sort of routine. Um, we're still working with Centene at the time. So the change with that was just getting myself reacclimating myself to working from home, away from outside. We're working from home, but now not close to the office, which they allowed, which was cool, and I was great. I'm grateful for that. Very, very much grateful for what they did to accommodate me for that, and I'm grateful for that. So those were changes. Excuse me. Other changes happened. For a little further down the line. This was me leaving, coming back down here was the end of was was August of 2020. So transitioned into 2021. So one other change was that I was still podcasting, we're still up under Diversity of Minds Blazing Heat Radio, and I decided to make another change in October of 2020 and create my own thing. That was a lot of people were applauding me for that, but then there were a lot of people that did not applaud me for that. I'll just leave it at that. So, all other thing, in 2021, trying to do things, make better improvements in my life, make better choices in my life. These. So from 2021 up to now, there have been ups and downs. There have been changes. There have been changes that have been good. There have been changes that have been bad. One of the more major changes was one of the more major changes was finally getting my health in order. Finally getting my physical health in order. Understanding certain things. If you guys tuned in to the my podcast, to where I talked about my experience with the VA, my experience with the VA. That was a change. That was a welcome change. Understanding that for a long time I was able to obtain those benefits, but then realize after this particular try, I was able to access those benefits, which which improved my quality of life immensely. But I'll admit that. I will admit that. Um, so between 2021 and 2000 and this year, there's been a myriad of things that have happened. Um, like I said, one of those things was finally getting my health in order. The other thing was was finding out certain certain things about me that I needed to find out about myself. One of those things was finding out that, um, being diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. Um, two things that I had never really understood. I never really knew that were occurring with me. So those were two major changes. Just understanding those things. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that I had that. That these were two conditions that I had, not on top of, um, on top of depression, which is something that I've dealt with since I was a teenager, through various stages through various stages. But so, like I said, from like I said, so many myriad of changes that happened, um, in the last 3 years or so. so many things that have transpired within those last 3 years or so. So many things that have come out of the last 3 years, and so many things that have made the last 3 years enjoyable, but also very stressful. what is- so the question that I posed in on Facebook is what did your change cost? What did your change cost? What was the cost of your change? And I asked this to the brothers on Man Cave Comment on my Man Cave Conversations Facebook page. I asked brothers what did your change cost you? So there are several things that my change. There are several things that I could point to, several things that I could point out and speak to about what my change cost. What a lot of the changes that I went through, a lot of changes that I experienced cost me. And I preface this. I preface my experiences with change with this. It doesn't matter what type of change that you go through. That change will always exact a cost. I'll repeat that again. It doesn't matter what type of change that you go through. It will always exact a cost. That cost is either a positive cost or that cost is a negative cost. It just largely depends on the type of change that you're experiencing. So there's no change there. So I put it like this: there's no change without cost. You're not going to go through a change and then not pay a cost for it. You know what I'm saying? So I want you gentlemen, I want my brothers to think about that question as I go through go through what my change cost me. And again, change has a every change has a price tag attached to it. It largely depends on if you're willing to pay the price for it largely depends if you're going to pay the price for it, or if you are willing to pay the price for it. Well, I won't even say willing to pay the price, because guess what? You're going to pay the price. You're going to pay irrespective. So you're gonna pay the cost. You're gonna pay the price anyway. So let's start from there. So let's start from that point. So the changes that I went through, they some of the changes exacted a heavy cost. Other changes did not exact so much of a toll. So they did not exact so much of a toll or cost. Anybody knows that when you go through changes in a relationship, or you're going through a separation or divorce, that is a life change. That's a major life change. And for me, the cost of that change was, it forced me to look deeper into myself. It forced me to really evaluate myself. It made me really look into my value as a number one, as a man, but also it made me really put myself in a position to where, dude, is this was what I was what I was going was what I was enduring worth um worth playing off, and worth fading happiness And I realized that it wasn't. So I had to make a change. What did that change cost me? It cost me a marriage. And not like again, I'm not gonna get into the specifics of this or anything. I'm not gonna get into any specifics because that's between me and my ex-wife. So I'm not gonna get into any specifics of that. But it did cost me a marriage. It cost me several relationships with people that I was friends with, that I was cool with, people that I thought I was cool with. It cost me it put me in conflict, put me in conflict with people that I should have never been in conflict with. And it cost me friendships. It cost me a lot of friendships. Over the years, I've made overture. I've made the overtures to try to try to fix or repair or to amend those friendships, and that's been met with varying degrees of success and failure. More more failure than success. Because I think when people are there, people don't want to be associated with you, or they don't want to bother with you, or they don't want to fuck with you. They don't want to fuck with you like that. They're just not gonna fuck with you. They're just not gonna deal with you. They're just not going to want to be bothered with you. And for me to come to that realization and understanding that that was the cost of me making that change, I had to be okay with it. Had to be fine with that. Does it hurt knowing that the friendships that were forged are no longer viable relationships? Does it hurt? Yeah. Fuck yeah, it hurts. But at the same time, excuse me. At the same time, I understood that that was the cost of that. That was the cost of that change. That was the cost of that life change. And for a while, it hurt because regardless, honestly speaking, all I wanted to do was just still be cool with people. But again, like I stated earlier, you realize that when you do something that's egregious or that they feel is egregious, you're looked at it in a different light, or in a different spectrum, or in a different light, or in a different way. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes that's a bad thing. And again, I had to be cool. I had to be okay with that. What did me changing my environment? What did that cost me? What did me changing my environment cost me? Cost me again to be away from people, be away from people who I thought were cool, who I thought were friends and stuff like that. But again, the change that I made, the change that I chose to make, was for the betterment of me, not for anybody else, but it was for the betterment of me. It wasn't for nobody else. It was for me. I chose to make that change to be away from an environment that wasn't conducive to me, to my emotional and my mental health, to my emotional well being, and my mental well being. Especially not after my last, not especially not after my last suicide attempt 2 days before I left. 2 days before I left Florida. What did what did it there what did this what did my what did what did changing my what did changing my physical what did changing my physical and emotional and mental health cost me? It really did. It really the only cost the cost that it exacted from me was really just the continued purging of all of everything that I had done prior. All the all the things that I thought that were detrimental to me. I I had to purge that stuff. You know, um, changing my eating habits. Um, changing my eating habits. That's something I still struggle with today because even though I do eat better, even though I do eat better, I do take better care of my body. There's still days and there's still times where I do slip, where I do slip and I do fall. Now, don't now I'm telling y'all right now. I I love chips. And that's something I'm gonna keep eating till to the day God calls me home. So that's a vice of mine. But everything else is in my all everything with moderation. You know what I'm saying? Everything in moderation. Um, me finding out that that something that I had already knew. Me, I knew I have high blood pressure when I was in Florida. I knew that already. But one of the positive changes that exacted a positive cost was being in an environment where positive behaviors are encouraged. Being around my mom and my younger brother, they're very positive. They're very positive people. They do everything they can to push me. Now I push myself. Seeing my younger brother, do change his eating habits, change his approach to a lot of things. Now by seeing him exercise and things of that nature. Now that's something I decided to do. That was a positive change for me as well. Um, exercising exercising now is something that I look forward to when I at the end of my workday. Something I look forward to when I get up on a Saturday or Sunday morning, right before I get my days, right before I get those 2 days started. Um, the cost of that change was another positive change. You know, the loss of losing weight. When I got here, I was 255 pounds. Now I'm hovering around between 200 and 20 between 205 and 200. Trying to get to that to kind of stay at 200 pounds. So that try to stay at 200 pounds so I can continue to go down to maybe 190. The some certain things are evident. Certain effects of change of the cost of certain changes are evident and they're readily seen. What did what did making a change as far as me making a change as far as my own owning my own podcast platform. That change was really evident. It was a negative and a positive. The negative was that I caught the ire of someone that had taught that had showed me the ropes of this business um from day one. So I caught the ire of that person. And it wasn't sweet. It was quite nasty. But the positive thing that came out of it is that the positive the biggest the big the thing that outweighs the negative cost is the positive cost that I was able to meet. Um, so be able to meet some amazing people. Still able to meet some amazing people in this journey, in this podcast journey, and to be aligned with such amazing people, such as Quit, such as Coco, such as LHG, um, such as Terrence, such as Bobby. You know, those people lead, those people have left it. Those people have left an indelible mark on me. It has changed me for the better. It's really just put me in a better position. You know, me being in a relationship that I'm currently am now. That's a change. That's a change. It's a it's a much more stable and much more. It's a much stable relationship. It's a much better relationship, and I thank God. I thank God for that. You know, one of the other things that one of the biggest changes for me, and I'll say this for me because I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, one of the biggest changes for me was that, you know, learning to understand who God is, and who God is, and who God is, and where He stands in my life. That's one of the biggest changes. Because for a while, I just, man, look, for you could tell me shit. You could tell me shit. I was like, look, we talking about God? Nope, can't do it, won't do it. Because at the time I was still, angry at God for taking my child. You know, even that changed exacted a cost. It put me, the change of me losing my child exacted the cost of me being very, 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 very defensive about people and their attentions, even very defensive when it came to God and Jesus. Yeah, that was me. Still is at times. Those times are less frequent because one of the things that one of the price and one of the costs that came out of that change was that particular change was me understanding that everybody makes a choice. And we either reap the rewards or we suffer the consequences of every choice that we make. And those four people, only those four people know what really happened only those four people really know what happened that day. Each one of them made a choice. That choice led to one person not being on this earth, on this plane with us. Am I angry about that? Yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry because he's not here. I'm angry because he's not here. I'm also angry of the circumstances that he left this world. So I'm still angry with that. But I'm not angry with God because I understand that it is God's choice to call us home. And when God says come home, you answer. So just wanted to let you guys know a little bit of what those changes cost, what a lot of changes that I've been through and still go through, what they cost me. So brothers, I want to break this down to my brothers, man, and also to my sisters too, to the sisters that love on our brothers. Um, one of the things I want to tell you guys that change cost, change exacts a price. That price could be a heavy price. That price could be a light price, but it's going to exact a price. And you have to be ready. And if you have to be ready, you're and what I put like the other thing I'm gonna tell you guys that change whether when you make the moment you make that change, be ready to pay. You're going to immediately pay the cost. The moment you make that change, you're going to immediately going to immediately pay the cost. It's not going to be, it ain't going to be an IOU for 2 years down the line. It's not going to be, it's not going to be, well, you made this change, so I'm gonna delay your payment of the change until maybe until 3 or 4 months later. No, the change, the price of that change is exacted right then and there. So whether that change is a good change or whether the change is a bad change, you go pay the cost, right? You're gonna pay the cost right then and there. So the moment you so like I said, the moment you make that change, be prepared to pay the moment you make that change, be prepared to pay the cost. Because you're going to pay the cost immediately. One of the things I think that we as people don't understand is that when we make these changes, we don't realize that there's a price tag attached to that. Every change we make, there's a price tag attached to it. Every choice we make, there's a price tag attached to that. That price is either going to be low or high, depending on the type of choice or the type of change you make. If it's a major change, expect to pay a major price. If it's a minor change, expect to pay a minor price. But even major changes can exact a minor cost, and even minor changes can exact a major cost. That's another thing I want. That's another thing I want you guys to know. A major change may not always exact a major cost, and a minor change may not always exact a minor cost. A major change can sometimes exact a very, very minuscule cost. A cost that's so insignificant you won't even know, you won't even notice it, or you won't even feel it. But just to the opposite, a minor change can exact a major cost. A cost that's so big and so major that it'll be felt for years to come. Or it could affect not only your family, but generations down the line. So we have to the other thing that we have to understand that our changes don't just affect us. Our changes don't the cost of our changes don't affect us individually. They also affect people that reside in our orbit, either directly or indirectly. So you may make a change, and you may not be the one that feels the change, but people further that are in your orbit, that they're in your orbit around you, may feel it. They may be affected. They may be negative. They may be adversely affected by it. So gentlemen, we have to understand. So my brothers, gentlemen, we have to understand that the changes that we make, not only do they exact a cost, and that cost can be major or minor, depending on the change. But also understand that a major change may exact a minor cost, and a minor change may exact a major cost, and vice versa. But we also have to be very cognizant of the people that are affected by the change. So I'll say this, and I want this to stay with us. I want this to stay with you, and I want you to breathe on this. But I want you to breathe this in. Change affects everybody. You're not the only one that's going to be affected by the change. Change affects everyone within your orbit. And it also affects people that are not in your orbit. That means people that are not directly connected to you. Change affects those that are directly and indirectly connected to you. Why do I say that? I say that because you can make a change in your lifestyle, or you can make a change in your lifestyle or how you present yourself to people. Meaning, maybe you may, cut your beard. Maybe you may do what I do every once in a while, and make a change and just, you know, cut my beard off and just leave the goatee right there. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I just decide, maybe I just let it just grow out and don't do anything to it. Or maybe I may make even a much more major change. I may change. Um, my doctor may change my medication, or a doctor, or I may change how I approach something, or I may change something else. Just think about that. Whether the changes that we make, whether they're minor or major, they affect everybody. They affect everyone. Number one, they affect everybody directly. That's directly connected to us. And then number two, they have the potential and the possibility to affect everyone that's not directly connected to us. Who are those people that are directly, or and who are the people that are directly or not? Who are the people that are directly connected to us? Our spouses, our children, our those are the those that's our immediate family, and then our extended then and then our immediate family, spouse, children, mother, father, and then our extended family, aunties, cousins, uncles, grandmothers, grandfathers, um, grandchildren. Those are people. These are the people that are directly connected to us. And then we talk about people that are indirectly connected to us. Though these could be our friends and associates. So, and the one thing I'll say, that most changes are noticed mostly by close friends and closer family members than it is by anybody else that's direct that's not inside your, or that's outside of your orbit, meaning those people that are indirectly connected to you. So change affects everybody that's either directly connected to you, or they're indirectly connected to you. And I want us as gentlemen and men to breathe that in and understand that, you know, one of the analogies that I'm going to use here is one of the analogies that I'm going to use to kind of bring this a little bit more closer to us and closer to everybody is that when you're learning how to shoot a gun, and they tell you, be aware, be aware of your target, but also be aware of who's behind your target. What does that mean? When you shoot, when you're shooting at your target, you are to be cognizantly aware of not only your target, but anything and anybody that's behind your target. So any choice or any change that we make, not only does it directly affect us, but it also directly affects those people that we know, the people that we love and that we care about. Another the second the third thing I want to leave with you guys, leave with us, brothers. Change is hard. Change is very, very hard, especially when you know you have to change, and you are staunchly refusing to do so, because you feel that your way has got you to where you need to, where you've been, where it got you where you are for so long, that you are just resistant to anything, to any type of new information or new stimulus. Change is hard. Change is very hard. I can tell you myself, I can tell you from firsthand experience myself, that change is difficult, that change is hard, because I've had to make that difficult change. And it and I railed and I kicked and I screamed, and I yelled, and I stomped around like a little 2 year, like a spoiled brat kid, and I pitched a fit and flailed and laid out and said no. I I did all those things. And even though I did all those things, I still had to change. I still had to change. And change and I do get emotional about this. Change is difficult. Change is hard, guys. Change is hard, guys. Change is a hard thing. Change is very, very hard. And again, it's compounded. It is compounded by our resistance to change. We don't want to change because, well, damn, I don't want to change because it's been working for me for so long. It's been working for me for the last 10 years. Why would I want to change and switch up now? Well, you got to change and switch up because times change, people change. The thing that the old ways of doing certain things aren't as applicable as they were when you were doing them. Certain thoughts are not applicable now. Certain ways of thinking aren't applicable now. Certain thought processes aren't applicable now. Change is hard. Change is very hard, but it's something that is that change is something that change is hard, but we have to be able to be we have to be ready and willing to change. And that leads to the fourth thing I want to talk about, I want to mention to us. Being resistant to change results in so many negative things that so many negative things. If you are resistant to change, or if you are resistant to change, then that means you're not willing to try. You're not willing to try. I'm saying this straight out. You're not willing to hear new information. You're not willing to you're not willing to experience new things. You're not willing to take a chance on something that take a chance on something that may or may not work. That may be a long shot to you, but may actually work. And trust me, there are a lot of us that are there are a lot of us that are walking around on on this earth that are that are resistant to change. I used to be one of those people, and in some instances, I still am. I still am that person. In some instances, I still am that person. I didn't. I didn't go quiet. I didn't go quietly when it came to changing the lifestyle. When it came to changing my lifestyle and exercise and things of that nature. It took a health scare for me to do that. It took a health scare for me to to be a lot more serious about making wholesale changes in my life, especially when it came to that. I didn't, you know, losing a child forced me to change. It forced me to look at things in a whole different light, in a whole different perspective. It literally just flipped my world upside down and put it on his head. So now everything that was right side up now is upside down. And now instead of me being that's instead of me on instead of me being on the outside looking in, I'm on the inside looking out. And trust me, trust me, one view is completely better than the other one. So being resistant to change, if being resistant to change leads, I won't say it leads, but it is something that makes us look that it's something that proves that being stubborn is not always the way. A lot of us older people, a lot of us older cats, myself included, because I'm 51. We're kind of sort of stuck in our ways. I know that I have I have particular ways that I haven't that I have particular modes of operation that I haven't changed since I was 45 years old. So there's certain methods, there's certain ways that I operate that I haven't changed since I was 40, that I haven't changed. And now as I look at my life and as I examine my life better, examine my life examine my life in a much wider prism, in a much wider perspective. I understood that a lot of those things that I've done aren't conducive to anything, and they don't really produce the type of results that I want. So I had to make a change. The fifth and the final thing that I want to put out here for us as men is that change is constant. Change is ever happening, and it's ever constant. So you're gonna have to get used to things. You're gonna have to get used to things changing around you. A lot of us resist. A lot of us resist change because of the uncertainty that change brings. Change is supposed to bring uncertainty. Let me repeat that. A lot of us as men and women resist change because of the uncertainty that it brings. Change is supposed to bring about uncertainty. Why does change bring about uncertainty? Because it's a simple answer, but it's a simple and also a complicated answer. Change brings about uncertainty because it introduces a new way of thinking, a new way of doing something, a new way of approaching something, or also a new way of just existing. Anything that is new to us, anything that is new to us is foreign. We don't know about it. We don't got intel on it. We can't make a determination on it because it's new. If it's new to us, then we don't know about it. We have no intel or information on it, so we can't make a determination on whether this new thing is going to be a positive thing or going to be a negative thing for us. But change is supposed to bring about uncertainty. The other thing that I want to add to that, change also forces us to pause. Let me repeat that. Change forces us to pause. It forces us to stop and look at things. It forces us to stop and evaluate things. Look at things in a different light. Look at things through a different prism. Look at things from a different perspective and understand that this change is coming. And we're gonna have to adapt. We're gonna have to adapt to it somehow. Change forces us to pause and adapt. We as human beings, we're the most adaptable people. We're the most adaptable creatures on the planet. We are one of the most adaptable creatures on the planet. We're able to adapt. We're able to adapt to certain things that happen around us. Change forces us to adapt. Forces us forces us to put ourselves in a different situation, in a space that is unwelcoming, but also welcoming. But again, like I said earlier, change every change that we make, every change that we embrace, every change that we make or we embrace, whether it's a change that we make personally, or whether it's a change that is being introduced to us. Just like changes in a job, changes on your job. If you're changes on a job, or changes in, or like changes in like in your ministry, say maybe, um, in a job situation, maybe something, maybe, you know, you get a new supervisor, or you get a new team lead, or you have more people added on to a team that you're on, maybe yet the department that you work in, or the job, or the place that you work in, they do a complete reorganization, or in a church setting, in a ministry setting, or even in a personal setting, you know, even in a personal setting, you adopt a child, you take in a pet, you lose a friend, or your marriage fails. All those things are changes. All those things are changes that we as human beings go through. That we as human and that and from the things I just mentioned is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Every change that we do, every change that we engage in, whether it's a change that we initiate or whether it's a change that's initiated for us, there's an immediate price that's exacted from it. Immediate price. It's not a it's not a so let's so it's not like, and I'll use myself as an example. Well, I'm gonna make this change for myself. So excuse me. So it's not like somebody that not like they're gonna give I'm gonna get an IOU for that change. Not like somebody's gonna say, well, nope, he's making a change, but we're not gonna make him pay that price until later on down the line. Nope, that changes that the cost of that change happens right then and there. The cost of that change happens right then, right there. And you'll feel it, or you'll either feel it or you won't feel it. But even if you feel it or you don't feel it, there are people there are people behind you that will. There are people in front of you that will. There are people to the left of you that will. There are people to the right of you that will. So your change just doesn't affect you. It affects those people. Like I said, it affects those people that are directly in your orbit. Changes force us to pause and adapt. And the thing of it is, either we change or we don't change. Either way, if you change, whether you change or not, whether you change or not, whether you choose to change or whether you choose to not change, you still pay the cost. So changing exacts the cost and not changing exacts the cost. It's just a choice of which one you choose. One of those have both of those have either a negative or positive effect. Choosing not to change can have a negative or positive effect. Choosing to change can have a negative or positive effect. This is the one thing I want to really bring home to us. We don't know the effects of that change until we change. We don't know the cost of that change until we make it. What do I mean by that? That what do I mean by we don't know the cost of that change until we make the change? Well, the reason I say that we don't know the cost of that change until we make the change is because the cost of that change is determined by us making the change. So it's not like if you don't make, if you choose not to make this change, this is the cost. This ain't the cost. This is the cost that's gonna happen to you. No, a different cost is gonna happen whether you choose to make a change or you choose not to make a change. The choice of making a change has a cost. The choice of not making a change also exacts a cost. That cost is not, that cost is not predetermined. So let's say if you make a good change, it's not always guaranteed that it's not always guaranteed that a good cost will come of it. Now it's expected, it's an expectation that a good cost will come, that a good cost will come from a good change. A good price will be exacted from a good change. But that's the expectation. In reality, that's a bit different. Now, good change, good cost happens more often than it doesn't. So happens more often than it doesn't. So that's more like it's somewhat measurable. But there's still an error. There's still an air of unpredictability there. There's still an unpredictability there, because just because you make a good change doesn't necessarily mean you pay a benevolent cost. That's the other thing I want to tell you guys. Change has either a benevolent or malicious cost. So just because you make a good change doesn't mean that you pay a benevolent cost. You may pay a malicious cost. But like I stated before, the expectation is that good change, benevolent cost. Bad change, malicious cost. So that's the expectation. But again, like I said it before, it is something that's there's something that is not predictable. You can't sit up here and say, you can't say that if I make this good change, then I'm gonna get. You can't say that. That's speaking in the absolute. Even though we know that's something that's quantifiable. If I make this good change, I'm gonna get this good cost or this good result. Okay. So most people, in most cases, that's expected. But the cost of your change the cost of your change isn't dependent upon whether the change is good or bad. The cost of your change is going to be dependent upon other factors. One of the factors is whether it is a good or bad change, but that's not the only factor. The other factor of that change is what the other factor that I believe works into whether the cost you pay is benevolent or malicious is how accepting you are to the change, or how resistant you are to the change. If you're resistant to change, if you're resistant to change, then a lot of things won't be open to you. A lot of things are going to be blocked for you. So if you so if you go to like, well, I don't want to do that. That's too fucking hard. That requires me to do too damn much. So being resistant to change will block you from moving forward. And sometimes being resistant to change will block your blessings. So that's the other factor, whether you're accepting of the change or whether you're resistant to the change. You know, acceptance of the change opens the door for you. Being resistant to the change, that you'll be blocked. You'll be blocked until you accept it. Certain accesses will be denied to you. Until that change is made. And then sometimes God says, well, sometimes God will say, you know what? I'm tired of watching him or her screw up. So boom. I'm going to put this, I'm gonna put this on him, and I'm in there, and hopefully this will force him or her to do this, force him or her to change, or force him or her to make the correct change that opens up the pathway to me instead of blocking the pathway to me. Because and I'll say this, sometimes because we are resistant to change or certain types of change, we block our pathways to receive what God has for us, but also to receive what life has for us. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that resistant to change is all bad, because if you're making a change and you know that it's a bad change, and you know that if you the moment you make this change, that is gonna result in something that's gonna be really, really negative for you, then of course you might want to say, nah, I don't want to do that. But if you're being presented with an opportunity to change and it's gonna benefit you, and you say, nah, I don't want to do that, or the hell with that. I'm cool the way that I am. I've been doing it this way for 20 some odd years. Why the hell should I switch up now? Then that's when you block certain pathways to you. Certain pathways that would normally be open to you or not open to you anymore because of your resistance to change. Or I won't say because of our resistance to change. And again, I'm not a mental health professional. I just use my own experiences to ascertain a lot of things because there have been changes that were presented to me, and I was just like, hell no, not doing that. I'm not doing that. What's the benefit? What am I benefiting from? How am I benefiting from it? Am I and what's the long term benefit for me? What's the short and long term benefit for me? No, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. Fuck that. What I've been doing this for 30 some odd years, and it's been working. Why should I change? Why should I change my mode of operation now? Guess what? When you don't change, when you're presented with an opportunity to change your mode of operation, or to change your mode of thinking, to change your perspective, or change the prism in which you view things in, I say take it. Because either way, whether the price is good, and I'm going to say this because this is something that I had to realize. This is something that I personally had to realize. If you're presented with a change, whether the outcome is good or bad, take it. Accept it accept it, pause and adapt. Because guess what? Whether the cost you pay is good, whether the cost you pay is benevolent or malicious, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that you learn. It's a lesson learned, because now you made the change and it exacted an immediate cost. That's something that's something else you can that's something you can put in your that's something else you can write down in your note. There's something else you can write down in your notebook of life. That's something else you can something else you can put in your back pocket. And you can tell you that's something else you can put in your back pocket, and you can utilize it. You can utilize it when the time or the situation calls for you to utilize it. Brothers, my brothers, we have to understand that our change that we have to understand that our changes, the changes that we make, have a cost attached to them. They have an intrinsic cost attached to them. They have a cost attached to them that is probably greater than what we as men think. because most time we make a change and be like, yeah, it is what it is. The change is it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and sometimes it's not. It's not that, because how things are with us. We have to put things in their proper perspective. You know what I mean? I don't like I said, I don't consider myself an authority on anything, but I do consider that my life experiences are experiences that can help somebody, and I had to understand that change and cost are quite interchangeable. You make a change. There's a cost. There's something you gonna pay a cost behind it immediately. I had to understand. I had to understand the dynamic of that. Because if I didn't understand, if I didn't understand the dynamic of that, I would not be in the position that I am currently. Brothers, it's time for us to understand the cost of our changes, good and bad. It is time for us to understand that there are people that are directly and indirectly affected by our changes. I want to thank y'all for listening to me tonight, because it took a lot for me to put this together. I had notes that I was going to read from, and I did read from them a little bit, but a lot of this is more or less free form, and because the reason I did it free form, because I want this to be an organic thing, type of conversation for us, for especially us as brothers, man. I feel that it is important for us as brothers, as men, to have a safe haven, to have a safe space for us to be able to speak, to talk about the things that affect us and the things that we deal with as gentlemen. That's the reason why I created the Man Cave Conversations group on Facebook. I encourage you, gentlemen, encourage my brothers. I encourage my brothers to go to that page on Facebook and join the group. Join the group, become active in the group. I know that I've been a little lax as far as posting daily questions. I'm going to get back to that, get back to posting daily questions, but I'm also going to post some nuggets of knowledge and wisdom, because I think, again, we as men need to have these spaces for us to be able to communicate, talk, or spaces where it's a safe haven for us to come and to gather and speak and talk about things without fear of judgment or ridicule. You know what I mean? But like I said, once again, brothers, I want us to understand the cost of our change, the cost of change. Every change that we make, affects us and the people that are in our orbit, not only directly, but it also affects us. It affects us directly. It affects the people that's within our orbit directly, but it also affects the people that are not in our orbit indirectly. So I want us to be aware of that. Understand that change is a necessary. Understand that change is a necessary thing for us to evolve, for us to survive, and for us to evolve and survive. How do we get better? We change. How do we aspire to better? We change. How do we do better? We change. So also, I want us as men to understand that when we're resistant to change, it blocks our pathways. It did it Our access is denied to certain things. Our access to certain pathways are denied. Our access to certain modes of thinking and perspectives are denied. I think for us as human beings to continue to evolve and to continue to be intellectual and intelligent creatures, we have to be able to be we have to be our minds and our hearts have to be open to all forms of all thought processes, to all perspectives. You know, a lot of people don't like free thinkers. A lot of people don't like people who have their own mind or their own perspective or their own way that they view things. Change occur. Change makes us better people. Change makes us better men, makes us better women. We have to be able to change. Change allows us to see the error in our ways, or allows us to see the mistakes that we made. It allows us to see the mistakes that we made down the line, but also it gives us a chance to rectify that, to rectify it by making the proper adjustment. Changes are just adjustments, y'all. Adjustments and changes are synonymous, because change is just a set of adjustments that we make to improve ourselves. Change is about improving ourselves, but also understanding the cost of those changes is important. You have to understand that whatever change you make is going to be a price tag behind it. And in most cases, that price becomes immediately payable. And you pay it. Whether you know that you pay it or not, whether you know that you pay it or not pay it, whether you know it or not, you pay it. So I just want us brothers to be I want us as men to be aware of that. I want us as men to be, I want us as men, especially especially my black brothers. I want us to be aware and cognizant of the things that go on around us. But I also want us to be aware I also want us to be aware of the things that, not only the things that we see with our eye gates, not only the things that we hear with our ear gates, not only the things that we speak with our mouth gates, but also the things that we take in into our heart, because our eyes, our ears, our nose, and our mouth, although all these are gateways, all these are gateways to the heart. What we see, what we hear, what we speak. So these are gateways. So I want us to be very cognizant of the things that we allow, or that we push out. First of all, be aware of the things that we allow into our gates, but also be aware of the things that we push out of those gates. More specifically, our mouth gate. So I want us as men, especially us as black men, to be well-rounded, well versed, emotionally stable and emotionally intelligent, but also mentally stable and mentally intelligent. So this is the reason why these check-ins, these check-in shows exist, because that's my purpose. I want us as men to be much more to be emotionally stable and emotionally intelligent, to be aware of our emotions, to be aware of the things that we feel, and that it's okay for us to feel. It's okay for us to feel the way that we feel. It's okay for us to not be okay in a certain situation. It's okay for us to express anger and to express other emotions besides just anger. We as human beings experience the whole spectrum of emotions. So that's the reason why these check-ins exist, y'all. This is the reason. This is the reason why. This is the reason why I go. Why when I get up here and I do these check-ins, I go as hard as I go because if my experiences with mental health, depression, suicide, PTSD, and anxiety, if any of those experiences can help another brother, then I'm more than glad and more than willing to be transparent. More than willing to be transparent. More than willing to be transparent. But I want, but think on that and think on that as you guys go into this weekend. I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. I want to thank you guys for listening to me tonight. I want to thank you guys for being attentive tonight. And if anything, if this podcast or this episode or anything that I've said or anything that I've said to you resonates with you, man, give this show a like, give this show a thumbs up, and leave a comment in the chat if you like to. If you watch this on the replay, again, if something what I said resonated with you, leave a thumbs up, and leave a comment in the chat. Though those things are very much appreciated. And if you liked what you heard tonight, and it resonates with you, and if any of our content here on Trailblazers Radio resonates with you, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It helps out. It helps us out a lot. It really does. And go find us on Facebook. We're at Trailblazers with a Z Radio. Like and follow us there too. I plan to be up here a lot more often because there are a lot of things that I want to talk about with us as men is concerned. So I'm gonna try. I plan on being here a lot more often. I apologize for the lack of consistency. I'm gonna do my best to be better with that, man. I'm gonna play one music video, and then I'm gonna play one video, but then I'm gonna come back with some announcements. So, and then we're gonna close out tonight. Going to play a video that I did a while back. So, give me a second here, and I will cue that up, and I'll be right back.
That's Hunter.
Yeah. Mr. Angry Man is back. I'm back. That's right. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Nah. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Listen. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. Y'all ain't know that I can rock like that. United we fall, divided we rise. That's all they ever see when they look in our eyes. I ain't the least bit surprised, and I don't even ask why I study. Looking for love and all we get is despise. They prophet lying, what? Meaning they falsely prophesying, talking about we really living, but we steadily dying. Tired of mothers crying, damn, and fathers silently raging. There's gotta be a way to escape this situation now. Yup. Come on. Verse 2. We search for brighter days to escape the maladies, giving homage to the folks that passed away. I speak life with the words I say, and that's the weapon I use to keep the evil at bay. I don't play when it comes to mine. My rhymes speak of a revolution. This time it's by design, and I'ma drop these deposits. So if you scared, take your ass to the closet. Why? Let me tell you this. Let's go. I got one more verse for you. Get them off of that verse. Listen to me now. Verse 3. I drop gems, representing lugs and Timbs with backpacks. I got props like Black Moon, they want effect like Dons. I'm pouring mic like Nas. I'm the southern playalistic cat that beat them odds. I'm coming out hard. We coming out hard. Yes, sir. Y'all didn't know that I can rock like that. One time for your mind. Representing for the deuce. That's right. Put it down for the deuce tray. Let's go. Mr. Angry Man. Peace. Okay. Technical difficulties. I apologize. Yep, that did it. Sorry about that, y'all. So I'm back. I'm back. Welcome back to the check-in, y'all. So um the reason I played that video, because I had to go to a little boy's room, so I apologize for that. Um, but I'm gonna close. I'm gonna get up out of here. But before I do that, um, like I said before, man, I thank you guys so very much for tuning into this show, man. Like I said, that I plan on being much more consistent with these shows, y'all, because I think the simple aspect of me being up here, talking about my own personal situation, my own personal journey with mental health, but also through the things that the situations and things that life throws at me, um, could be very very helpful for enough for could be very very helpful for another gentleman, for another man who may be going through a similar situation. So that's the reason for me. That's the reason I'm going to be much more consistent with that. And I apologize for the lack of inconsistency. Um, I know that I'm I'm beginning to see the impact of these shows now, and I think it's time for me to kind of to step my game up, um, and and do what I do and do what I need to do as far as making an impact on people, especially my brothers. Um, Couple of announcements that I want to throw at you guys really quickly before I roll up out of here, man. So check this out, y'all. So I am calling all my poets. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all. Talking to y'all. The 18th of this month. Yeah, August 18th. Verbal Soul Volume 2, the voice of our people. Yeah, it's going down. It's going down like that. If you are a poet and you want to get in up, you want to get in up on this right here, hit us up via email at trailblazers with a Z, radio at gmail.com. I'm calling all my poets. It doesn't matter what genre you write in. I'm calling all my poets. Verbal Soul Volume 2, the voice of our people. That's the theme. Now, I'm letting you guys know right now, you do not have to write to that theme. You can present whatever poem, whatever piece you like. You don't have to write that you don't have to write to that theme. It would be greatly appreciated if you could write to that theme, but it's not a requirement. So that's one thing I got going on. The other thing I want to let you guys know, August the 20th. That's 2 days. That's 2 days afterwards. August the 20th. I am re-releasing my very first. I'm really re-releasing the very first book that I ever published. For those of you who follow, those of you who know me as an author, Broken Chains. Well, the book was originally called A Broken Circle, and it was published up under Diamond Cut Publications. Um, King Diamond and Silent Storm, great people, um, knowledgeable people. Um, most definitely giving props and flowers to Silent Storm, because a lot of things that she told me about this biz and how to apply certain things, I learned from her, and that has guided me to what, nine books, five as a co-author, and four as a four that I've written. So I am re-releasing my very first book. It is, for those that don't know, it's called Broken Chains. Broken Chains. I'm sorry. So I'm re-releasing my very first book on August the 20th. Um, this is even though it's an old even though the book is what, let's see, that book was released in 2016 or 2017, I think. Even though the book is a few years old, I re-released it with some new content, um, with improved editing and formatting, and also um, a brand new cover. So most definitely gonna most definitely most definitely if you haven't picked up this book, I highly encourage you to pick it up when it drops on the 20th of August. Um, the other thing that I want to tell you guys about, calling all couples. We're having a podcast panel. I want you guys to be on a panel. We're gonna be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about subjects such as intimacy, communication, and trust. So many more things we're going to be talking about with this panel. If you are a married couple, or if you are a couple that are in a long-term relationship, I want you. Let's sit down and have this conversation. Let's sit down and have this conversation. This is going to be going down on August the 30th. I want you guys to tune in with us and vibe out with us, man. I already have two. I already got two love. I already got two great couples that are committed to us to come hang out and kick it with us and have a conversation. I at least want at least one or two more couples um to join us on this conversation and join us on this journey. So if you're interested, again, hit me up via email at trailblazers with a Z radio at gmail.com, or I'm on Facebook. You guys wanted to hit me up via messenger, by all means do so. I'm also on Instagram. If you guys want to hit us up on Instagram. You can do that as well. So most definitely hit us up if you guys are interested and want to be a part. Want to be a part of this. As always, tune into Critical Conversations on Saturday with my girl LHG. Also, My Life Has Destiny podcast on Mondays and Thursdays. Quint Jones, Coco Fitton. Always got some great things for you. Girl Chat Tuesdays with my girl LHG. Man, these girl chat Tuesdays have been off the chain. If you guys missed Girl Chat Tuesday this past Tuesday, you guys missed a good one. You guys missed a good one. So make sure and her Women in Business series. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she tearing up on these airways, y'all. So make sure you tune in to Girl Chat Tuesdays with LHG. Make sure you tune in to My Life Has Destiny podcast with Quint Jones and Coco Fitton. These ladies right here, all three of these ladies are just bringing you guys some fire content. Quint Jones and Coco Fitton with their Q&As. You never know what's gonna happen with them Q&As. And then they always have great guests. And if they don't have a great guest, they always have a great subject to talk about. I promise you, if you guys tune into My Life Has Destiny podcast, I guarantee you that you will leave encouraged. I guarantee you will leave encouraged. And then, like I said before, Girl Chat Tuesdays with LHG. Oh my God. So I'm just gonna tell you that. So if you guys, this one on this last Tuesday, I was moderating and just making sure that everything was telling y'all off the chain, man. And then Critical Conversations on Saturdays. Yeah, these ladies are doing it. Now, I have to do my part. I'm going to do my part and make sure that I step up and do what I have to do. Just to let you guys know. So I do have an author for the Author's Alley, but that's going to be slightly down, a little ways down the line, around like the 25th or so, 25th of August. I'm most definitely going to put a post out there to let you guys know who that author is. Within the next week or so. One of the things that I want to throw out, I want to put a quick announcement out here, and I'm going to get up out of here because I know I've been talking way too long. One of the things I'm going to start doing, and I plan on making this a very much of a consistent thing. There are several authors out here who I know who I know on Facebook, who I know on Instagram, and so a lot of authors that I know personally. So what I'm going to start doing, I have several books by a lot of these authors. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start reading them, and I'm going to start reviewing them. Gonna give an honest review, and I'm gonna the reason I want to do this is that the reason I want to do this is because I want to give back to these authors, to these amazing authors that have been on this platform, who have presented themselves on this platform, who have talked about their works, who have talked about the things that they do, what they continue to do as authors. So I want to give back to them by reading what they have and giving an honest review. So I know there are a lot of authors that I've interviewed over the past 2 years. If I want to ask you guys this favor. If I've interviewed you as an author and I have not purchased your book, hit me up either via email at trailblazerradio@gmail.com, or hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and either there's a couple of ways you can do this. More than a couple of ways you can do this. You can either send me the link to purchase. You can either send me the link to purchase your book, or you can get with me in Messenger. And if you want to send me a copy of the book, just hit me up on Messenger, and I'll give you shipping details. Or if there is a Kindle version of your book, send me the link to that as well. What I'll do, if it's a Kindle version, I'll download the book, I'll read it, I'll read it, and then a week or two down the line, I'll do a review on it. Same thing I'm going to do with all the books that I have currently in my collection. So, like I said, if you're an author and I've interviewed you and you haven't, and I haven't, and I'm pretty sure there's some authors whose books I have not purchased yet, which I do plan on purchasing. But if you want to gift me a book, I'll take it. So that's something I'm going to start doing, because I want to give back to these amazing authors whom I've had the pleasure of interviewing, who've taken the time out of a Friday evening or a Wednesday evening to talk to me about their writing journey, to talk to me about their book, who talked to me about what's next down the line with them, and also just for them taking the time out of a Friday evening to just have a conversation with me about not just literary things, but just about life in general. So, excuse me. This is my way of saying thank you to you guys. And like I said, I'm gonna read your work, and I'm gonna give it an honest review. But this is my way of saying this is my way of number one. I want to say this, that I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you guys. That's number one. And number two, I want to do this for you guys, because I know as an author myself, it's very hard to garner support and or to get people to read your work. So this is something that I want to do. This is something that I personally want to do for you guys. So with that being said, once again, I think I've talked too much, so I'm gonna get up out of here, y'all. Man, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow for Critical Conversations, and then tune again, and once again, come right back to us on Monday for My Life Has Destiny podcast, and then Girl Chat Tuesday, and then maybe this coming Wednesday I might actually do another check-in. So actually, yeah, I am going to do another check-in. Probably going to talk about emotions, but I'm not sure what I want to talk about. I do want to talk about the proximity of our emotions as men. So I really want to talk about that. So I think I am going to talk about that. So I do. So yeah, check it on Wednesday. The proximity of our emotions as men. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So and then Thursday again, My Life Has Destiny podcast coming at you guys live and direct. And then again, you never know what we got going on. So make sure you keep your eyes and your ears to the ground for what we got going on, y'all. We we are Trailblazer Radio, and we are doing our best to blaze the trail. We're doing our best to be the vanguard and the pioneer, the pathfinders. So make sure you tune into us because we got some great things going on, man. I love you guys I love you guys. I love you guys to like my sis Coco 50, like my sis Coco 50 always says, I love you guys to life and I love you guys to live. And there's nothing you can do about that. The three things I always say when I close out, man. Number one, take care of each other. Number two, be good to each other. Number three, it is a crazy, and I mean crazy ass world out here, y'all. So above all the three things that I just mentioned, please, y'all just be safe out here. Do me that favor. Just be safe out here, y'all. Be safe out here. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I love y'all. I thank you guys for just being here and just being able to tune that be. I love you guys a lot, and I really thank you. I thank you guys for just taking the time out of your days to tune into us and to watch us and to see and watch the content that we have for you guys and to see us grow as a platform. So I truly thank you guys for that. I love you, and I love you guys for that. On that note, I'm gonna roll up out of here, man. You guys have a great Friday evening, and you guys have an even better weekend until the next time we see each other again. I love you to life. I love you to live. May God bless you. May God keep you. And may God bless you. May God keep you. And may God forever shine his light upon you. Love you. Peace.